Alright, so this video is coming from 4.R.2, which is dealing with simplifying and evaluating algebraic expressions. So first we'll just need to know what our expression is going to look like. So they're going to talk about different things involved with it. So an algebraic expression is anything where you're adding, subtracting, multiplying different terms involving variables. So something like this would be an algebraic expression. So 3x plus 1. Okay. Each of these in your expression is called a term. So this would be your first term in this case. This would be your second term. Okay. So what they're going to do is they're going to want you to talk about what type of parts of this that you're going to have. So either you're going to have what's called a variable term, which is the term involving variable, or you're going to have a constant term, which is your term only involving constants. So a constant being like just a regular number, like 5 or -6 or something like that. So it's just going to be that by itself. So in this case, like for what we have right here, our variable, let's just talk about what the first term is. So the first term in this case is 3x. It's a variable term. So that means the variable is x, and the coefficient which is your number in front of your variable, in this case is 3. Okay, because they're going to ask you questions like that. Then you may get another question asking what stuff going on about your second term. In this case, we said our second term is 1. It's a constant term. Well, that's all we'll have to put for that one. There's no variable and there's no coefficient because it's just our constant. So that's going to be the first kind of thing that you'll have to deal with whenever it goes for talking about them. If it's something like -3s plus 10, the negatives are going to be included in that. Like in this case, your first term is -3s, variable term, meaning our variable is s, the coefficient is -3, the second term is 10, and that's our constant term. Okay. So just know that the negatives are going to be involved with it too. So if this was -10, your constant term would be a -10. Okay, so the other part we need to deal with is evaluating. So they may ask us to evaluate. So let's say this is our number 1. So they may ask us to evaluate some of these expressions, like at b equals -1 in this case. Okay, so they'll give you a problem. So they'll say something like 5 times b minus 1 plus 4 times b minus 2. Well, all of this is just telling you that they're giving you that b is -1. All of these b's need to become -1. Okay, whatever they're giving you, you just need to plug into the problem. So this b would become -1. This b would also become -1. Then you follow your order of operations after that. So you need to do these 2 parentheses, Okay, there's subtraction in here. Negative 1 minus 1 is going to be negative 2. Leave the parentheses because this is now multiplication. So remember, they don't have to put the multiplication symbol. It could just be a parentheses next to it. Plus 4, and then negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. So then we can do both of these multiplying because that's the next step is multiplication. This would be negative 10. This would be negative 12. Negative 10 plus negative 12 would be our last step. Negative 22. Okay. And then it doesn't matter how many they give you. They may give you multiple variables to plug into. So let's say they're giving us that x is 4 and y is 3. Same situation, they'll give you an expression, negative x plus y equal minus 5. You need to make both of these into what they're giving you. So this x is going to become 4. Well, it's already negative in front, so you want to keep that negative and put the 4 where the x is. Plus 3 is now our y, minus 5. So this is all regular adding and subtracting, so we can do that from left to right. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Negative 1 minus 5 is negative 6. So that would be our answer for that one. Okay. Then the last thing they'll have you do in this section is simplifying some of the expressions that they're going to give you. So we want them to simplify. So remember we talked about terms. Well, some of these are going to have similar terms to each other, so they're called what's like terms. And that means they have to have the same variable and the same exponent. So for example, some like terms would be like in a situation we can add stuff together. Something like 4x and 10x. Those are like terms to each other. Or negative 3x squared and 2x squared. Those are like terms to each other. Or 1/2 y and 5y. Those are like terms to each other. So we're able to combine those. So the next part of this is going to basically be that. You don't want to be able to try and combine stuff that wouldn't work out. Only the parts that can actually combine with each other. So they're going to say something like, simplify the following expression by combining like terms. So let's say they give us negative 0.5x plus 9 plus 0.1x. So in this, we have this having an x term, this is just a constant term, and this also having an x with it. So for sure we can combine the two x's together. So I'll usually underline them to show that that's what's going to be able to combine. Whatever you can't combine left is just going to have to add on to the end. So we're only combining this stuff right here. Negative 0.5 plus 0.1 is going to be negative 0.4x. The x stays the same. Don't change the variable. You're only adding the number in front. Then the 9 is just going to have to come down. Well, we can't combine an x with a number. It would have to both have an x on it. So this is where you're just going to stop. So a lot of these you won't get any single number. You would have to put in this entire expression. That's as far down as we can go. We don't know what x is. Okay. You can have more than one like term, like in this case, x minus 8y plus 4x plus 5y. Well, we have some x variables and we have some y variables. So for sure the x's are going to be able to combine with each other. and then our y's is going to be another like term. So I'll just put different underlines into the ones that I'll be able to combine together. So this is a positive x and a positive 4x. Remember, every time we have a variable with nothing in front, it's understood to have a 1 right here. So this is like 1x plus 4x, meaning that that would be 5x. Then we have negative 8 and a positive 5, so that would be a negative 3y. Okay, again, we can't combine an x and a y, so that's as far as we can go for that too. Okay. Then we can have stuff where there's exponents in common, so you want to make sure you only combine the ones that can actually be together. So we'll have something like 4 minus x minus 3 plus 4x squared minus x squared plus 4x. So we want to combine all of the like terms in this. Okay. So I usually start with the biggest exponent, but you can go in the order that they have here. We know for sure that there's some x squareds, so only the x squareds are going to combine with each other. You can't do x squared with x, so you can combine all of these together, only the two x squareds. The second one would be our x's. And last we have two numbers with no variables, so those can also combine. So if we're starting with this one, 4x squared minus, remember 1x squared is going to be a positive 3x squared. So don't change the exponent or anything, leave it as it is. Then negative 1x plus 4x would be also a positive 3x. And then 4 minus 3 is going to be a positive 1. Now when you enter in the answer, the order of this doesn't really matter. They're not asking for you in a certain form. So if you have the 3x first or the 1 first, it won't matter. So you can put it in any order, as long as all the signs are still in the same, next to the same numbers. Okay, don't change any of the signs. Okay, let's look at one more like that. You may have stuff come up with some distribution that would happen. Something like this, 2 times parentheses x squared plus 2x plus 2, and 4 times parentheses x squared plus 2x plus 1. Okay, so in this situation, we can't start combining anything outside of the parentheses yet, because you have to get rid of these parentheses. So you can use what's called your distributive property. This 2 is multiplied times everything in here. So you can distribute it and multiply it to all the parts in here. As in, we're going to do 2 times x squared, which is 2x squared. Then we're going to do 2 times 2x, which is going to be 4x. Then 2 times 2, which is 4. Same thing for this one. There's a 4 in front of this parentheses. We can't combine anything in here or on the outside yet. We have to get rid of all this. 4 times x squared is now going to be a positive 4x squared. 4 times 2x is positive 8x, and 4 times 1 is a positive 4. So once all those parentheses are gone, after you distribute, you get rid of them, you can start combining whatever they have in common. So we have some x squareds, we have some x's, and we have regular number. So 2x squared plus 4x squared is going to be 6x squared. 4 plus 8 is going to be 12x. 4 plus 4 is going to be 8. So you can't combine anything left, so that would be your answer for that. Okay, I know I said one more, but let's make sure we can do one that looks like this. This is the last thing that might look a little bit different. Okay, so you may get one like this. Don't freak out when you see this big fraction. Clearly there's some like terms at the top. You can't combine it with the stuff on the outside yet, because there's this 2 underneath here. So this needs to combine first Then you can divide into what you get as your answer, and then you can combine if there's something left to combine. So first we want to combine these like terms, negative 7x minus x. Well, that's going to give us negative 8x. Still divided by 2, we didn't do anything with the 2 yet, plus 8x. But now, before, again, we can't combine this because they have this 2 under here. So let's just divide it out first. Negative 8 divided by 2 is going to be a negative 4x plus 8x. Then all that's left is to combine our other like terms now that we got rid of the fraction. Negative 4 plus 8 is a positive 4x. Okay, so you may see that come up, so just be careful with some of that fraction stuff. But that's the gist of adding your like terms and your simplifying and evaluating.